We continue our Cardinals conversation with Kaelen Jones of The Ringer, and this guy does it all. He writes, he podcasts, he drinks wine with Charles Woodson, former intern of Sports 360 AZ. Kaelen, it's great to see you, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for that intro. That's probably one of the best ones I've ever gotten.
Nice. Glad to hear that. So we're here to talk Cardinals. A lot has been going on. Chandler Jones, Christian Kirk are out. A lot of re-signs, for a while there in free agency. It was just kind of bringing some of the band back together, and then bringing in the likes of Hollywood Brown and Jeff Gladney. And, they had the draft where they made that first round trade. So just how would you say that the Cardinals have been able to address some of those needs and try to improve in a very tough NFC West?
I don't think that they deserve like a horrible grade, but I would say it's pretty average, understandably so. And I think, you can be critical here in large part because, they lost Chandler Jones. And I think, he's a Hall of Fame caliber player. And while I think they did a decent job in terms of trying to replace what they lost, specifically through the draft by drafting, Majai Sanders out of Cincinnati, then Cameron Thomas out of San Diego State, trying to add some more guys and depth along the defensive line to make up for, such a significant contributors ouster. I mean, it's really tough. And I mean, when you look across the board too, like we found out recently about DeAndre Hopkins, obviously him going, they end up missing 6 games, I think will be really significant for what their offense does. And then, they lose Chase Edmonds, which quietly to me is one of the bigger losses of the offseason for the Cardinals. And so it's been really tough sledding for them. I think they're really fortunate that Russell Wilson is no longer in the division. So it gives them, still a fighting shot, I think, at, potentially competing with like the Niners or even the Rams if they have a down year. But, I wouldn't be necessarily overwhelmingly encouraged if I'm a Cardinals fan, but I wouldn't be too upset because I'm not sure, there was a chance that they could have gotten too much done to replicate some of the success that they had early on last year.
And now when you look at it also, DeAndre Hopkins out the first six weeks, the schedule has been released. And in those first 6 weeks, the Cardinals are playing 4 playoff teams. So how do you think that the Cardinals are able to weather this storm early on before they can get Hop back? And then Hop is also coming in when it's a Thursday night game against the Saints in week 7.
Oh man, I mean that's tough, man. That's the thing. For the Cardinals to get through this first wave, they really need Kyler Murray to play at the level that he's played, to open the season each of the past 2 seasons. Like I mentioned, he plays at MVP caliber level throughout the first half of the season. And there's tons of metrics out there, including EPA per play, which is my favorite one, through the first half of the season. And this is from Arjun Marona at Pro Football Focus. I think he charted him, in the top 10 of quarterbacks in terms of EPA per play throughout the first half of the year. The problem is it's the second half of the year where his numbers drop to, being around Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater range. And so, that's not what you really want. And so I think that, in order for the Cardinals to really compete, for the division title and even a playoff chance, they really have to get through and weather that storm throughout the first 6 weeks. I mean, it's really tough for them. I mean, playing, the defending Super Bowl champions, obviously you guys have, relationships, so to speak, with the Rams already, but, you got the Cardinals, playing the Chiefs and the Raiders, to open the season. I mean, it's going to be really tough for them to find their footing right off the bat. But if Kyler Murray comes in playing at the level that we're accustomed to seeing him play, then I think that they'll definitely have a shot. Defensively, I think, again, it will be significant losing Chandler Jones, but if you get some of those rookies and even some of the early round picks that we've seen over the past few years, step in and immediately contribute, then maybe, the Cardinals are being a little bit more competitive right out the gate. But, it's going to be really tough sledding for them, especially without DeAndre Hopkins in the lineup.
Plenty to dissect with the Arizona Cardinals, and Kaelen Jones helped us navigate and sift through a lot that's going on. Kaelen, thanks so much for the time and the insight.
Of course. Thanks for having me, Jordy.